30:49.
All right, thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll go ahead and get started. We're running a few minutes behind, but with that, I want to call the meeting to order. This is a regularly scheduled Greer City Council meeting called and convened this October 11th, 2016. Having called the meeting to order, I'd like for us to join together in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe we have Troop 603 with us this evening, and Leader James Jordan is here. Mr. Jordan, I'm going to ask you to have your scouts lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then if you wish to remain standing, Mr. Councilman Wayne Griffin is going to provide an invocation for council. So with that, scouts, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilman Griffin, you can offer an invocation following that.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Father God, it's once again a few of your humble servants come calling thy holy and righteous name. Father God, I want to thank you for all the wonderful blessings you've bestowed upon us, Father God, for truly you've been better to us than we've been to ourselves. Father, if you would, teach us to lean not into our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge you, and you shall direct our paths. Father, I ask for a special blessing for our employees, Father God, first responders, fire department, police department. Wrap your loving arms around them, Father. Protect them from all danger, seen and unseen. These and all the blessings, I ask your precious Son, in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Duncan, do we have anybody to appear in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
With that, then, council, I'll entertain a motion to receive the minutes from the council meeting on September the 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second in that regard. Any of items of note for the clerk? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Ms. Booker.
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bettis.
Yes.
Ms. Albert.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. We have a special recognition this evening in regards to our Fire Chief Dorian Flowers. If Chief Flowers will join me in the front, our City Administrator, Ed Driggers, will join us as well, too.
Chief Flowers would also invite your wife and your daughter to join you up front, please.
One of the things that we are particularly proud of is the fact that we encourage all of our employees to continue their education. And that goes for professional education as well as general education where that is applicable. And certainly at some levels, it is really worthy of note in terms of those accomplishments. And tonight is one of those evenings. We have this evening a presentation that we would like to make that identifies that Chief Flowers has risen to executive fire officer level. And the plaque that we're going to present him tonight says, from the National Fire Academy in recognition of successful completion of the required courses of study and applied research projects, the National Fire Academy, under the authority granted by the 111th Congress of the United States of America, and on recommendation of the faculty, confers the title of Executive Fire Officer upon Dorian Flowers, with all honors, privileges, responsibilities, and thereto appropriate to this award. And with that, we want to present this to you and offer our congratulations and thanks for your commitment to earning this. Give him a hand. before you go, I know you would like to say something, but I think it's appropriate that the administrator say something. This is an opportunity to show our commitment to education, and it's one that this city's proud of. And so I'd like to have you say a word in regards to our commitment to making sure that our folks are at the top of their field in all levels.
Thank you, Mayor. When Chief Flowers joined us a little over a year ago, particularly during the interview process, one of the things that was extremely important to him was the ability to be able to complete this program. It is a 4-year, excuse me. You had completed 3 years. He had completed 3 of the 4 years that are required in this program, and it was vitally important to him to have the opportunity to complete the program. And of course, our response was yes, absolutely. We believe that us providing the resources for him to be able to complete this program was critical in his advancement and in his career development, but we also believe it will pay dividends for many, many years within our own department. This is a chief that is committed to professional development among his staff, and he is also committed to professional development for himself. And that is critical for us as we continue to grow as a municipality. It is a very complex world out there. And long gone are the days that we wait in the station for a fire. We are very, very proactive and being on top of your game and understanding the most advanced technologies that are available in fire science and in firefighting. It's critical for us, and it makes us a better community as well. So again, Chief, congratulations. We are glad to have participated with you in this journey. I'm sure your family is glad to have you home now because this required an awful lot of travel, and it also required extensive research on his part as well. But again, we will have dividends paid to us for many years to come. Congratulations.
Sure. You want to let your wife and daughter hold that? Be appropriate next.
I would just like to say thank you to obviously the city for the support. Everybody, that it takes 2 weeks every year during the 4-year program, and then you have 6 months to complete a applied research project, and those projects are designed to help you have real-world experience back in your department. I'd also like to thank my staff that has been supportive and have gone without me for a couple of times since I've been here, in the short time I've been here, for 2 weeks each year. And then finally, I'd like to thank my family for putting up with it for 4 years, because 2 weeks away from the family is extremely hard with schedules and school and work on their part. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Among some of the most important work that this council and our staff does is continuing education, and particularly at the professional level. And hats off to all of our employees that are continually seeking to update those certifications and training sessions that they need to keep them on top of their profession. With that, then, we'll move to the administrator's report. Mr. Driggers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. One of the things that probably is most recent on our minds is how we prepared for and the assistance that we offered to sister cities relative to Hurricane Matthew. We were very much spared here in our local community, but nonetheless, we were prepared for the worst. One of the things that we do in those types of events is we participate in our emergency management operations at the state level as well as our respective counties. We did not know exactly what was going to occur as a result of Matthew, but we were prepared nonetheless. As you are aware, we have an automatic aid agreement with our sister city, the town of Mount Pleasant. We had crews relative to the police department, the fire department, and our public services departments that were on standby and prepared to be deployed to that area. We received notification yesterday morning that while they they had a mess, they had it under control, and that they appreciated our ability to be on standby for them as well. As you know, that is a reciprocal agreement. If we were to have a winter event or an ice or storm event in our area, we have automatic aid agreement with them as well, and they are prepared to respond to us. This allows us to get probably about a 48-hour advance mobilization than what would occur if we were solely going through the emergency management operations offices. That process is a little bit slower, and that's why we rely on that automatic aid agreement. So Greer obviously spared well in this event, but very well prepared. We do have some of our firefighters that have been deployed on special teams and have been participating and been mobilized for that event. We gave you some information in our last meeting concerning our leaf brochure. That is being distributed to our community. We're anticipating that to go out right around October the 24th, so we're just another week or so from that being distributed. Leaf collection will begin in November, so folks will have that in their homes, and they will be informed and prepared. It will be very similar to what we have done in years past, giving people information about the schedules, also giving them information about curbside collection, general information about how to bundle materials, those things that we can pick up, and how to obtain additional information if they should need that. We're continuing to host some events. Another one of our food truck events will be taking place on October the 20th, so that's just around the corner for us. We do that here on the grounds at City Park, so we hope that you'll be able to join us for that project as well. If you are coming into the downtown area, you probably noticed that we are now working on our LED lighting project, particularly to our approaches to the downtown area, Main Street, Poinsett Street, and the downtown area. Much of that conversion has taken place. There's a few fixtures that we are still to get replaced. We have some additional information that we'll be sharing to our community on that project. Our partner, obviously, in that endeavor is Greer CPW. But if you haven't noticed on your way out tonight, if it's dark at that point, you'll notice that you no longer have the high-pressure sodium, which we would call the orange glow. Those fixtures on Poinsett, Main, and downtown have been changed out to the LED fixtures, which is a white light. And you will see there will be a noticeable difference in those areas. And those are the same types of fixtures, albeit they'll be a little larger in wattage, but these are similar to the ones that we will be using on Wade Hampton Boulevard as we approach in 2017 for that complete rehabilitation of the lighting along the 7-mile stretch, city limits to city limits, along Wade Hampton Boulevard. So this project was intended to be a demonstration project so that our community could see what will be happening on Wade Hampton Boulevard, as well as it helps us meet some of our immediate goals in our community master plan in tying in the downtown Greer Station area to the Wade Hampton corridor, both again by Main Street and Poinsett Street. So very excited that our partners at CPW have completed most of that installation, and we certainly look forward to how that project will continue to enhance the community. It has been a year of some good awards for us, and I'll share a couple of those with you in a moment, but a couple of good news items as well. I know many of you were inquiring as to the status of our agreement with Greenville County relative to the payment of agreed amounts for the countywide recreation program. That has been remitted to us. And so the past 3 years that we were anticipating, those funds have now been remitted to us, and as directed by council previously, those have been placed aside, and they've been put exclusively for recreational purposes, but for planning efforts that you would direct us as we move forward relative to the pedestrian and bicycling plan and how we would move forward with that. But those funds have now been received and have been set aside, ready to move forward with that. Also, concerning dollars, we have been notified by the Greenville Legislative Delegation Transportation Committee that they are prepared to do a match program in 2016-17, this next fiscal year. However, it is very similar to what we did last year. You may recall in previous years, we've allocated up to $250,000 to do a match. In past years, they've been able to fully fund those matches for us. However, last year it was a little bit less than that, about half of that. This year we're in a similar situation. They have approved a match to our dollar-for-dollar grant program of $131,737.06. And if you wonder how that really gets equated, they have a formula based on population and miles of road. And so for us, being in 2 counties, this obviously will only apply to the population of Greer that is in Greenville County and the miles of streets that are in Greenville County as well. So that gives us the $131,737.06 for the match program. We are budgeted at $250, so there are dollars that will be in that program that we will continue to do some of our local projects with as well. One of those projects that we had hoped to move forward with here in the fall, we are unfortunately not going to be able to do that, and that was our sidewalk project on Brushy Creek Road. We had completed the engineering on that project. We submitted it for permits to SCDOT, and SCDOT has come back and has indicated that they're going to require some additional engineering on that project. Because of the timing for that, we did not anticipate that we would be able to get that to bid and in construction prior to the end of the year, but we are negotiating and working with them now on those setback requirements, and that's predominantly what it's relative to, is how far the sidewalk has to be set back in an area that does not have curb and gutter. So we're working with them on those requirements now. As soon as we receive our permit, then we are prepared to take that project to bid, and then we would hope to award that bid in short order and start construction. But I am anticipating that it is probably an early 2017 project versus what we had hoped to be a fall of 2016. But as soon as we get those permits, we will go to bid with that project. And also relative to transportation planning, I want to make sure that you are aware that the Greenville-Pickens Area Transportation Study Area, which is referred to as GPATS, they are doing workshops around the county, and one of those will be taking place here in the Greer community. That is taking place next Monday, October 17th. It'll be here at Greer City Hall from 4 until 7 p.m. in the room next door at Hall B. This is an opportunity for folks to express thoughts to the Greenville-Pickens Area Transportation Committee and local planning staff at the regional level on priorities for transportation here in our area. Our mayor serves on that committee, and Mayor, you may have some additional information that you may like to share with that at this time. Or not, but I know you serve on the committee, yes.
I do indeed serve on the committee, and you know, the GPATS considers federal funding and road issues relative to, it gets its name from the Greenville-Pickens Area Transportation Study, so a large group, and as you can well imagine, always vying for the attention of those funds. And so that planning process often gets stretched out 10, 15, and even 20 years in some cases, and so it becomes a little bit speculative in terms of what is truly going to happen, given the fact that trying to plan for even 5 years in advance in this area can be difficult, let alone trying to plan for road needs 20 years in advance. But nevertheless, this is an opportunity for you as citizens to express concerns about roads in our area. We have just seen the completion of one project that was a GPATS project, but one that has been on the books for a number of years. But we don't have as many as we possibly could or would like. But as you can imagine, with very limited dollars spread out over three-county area, it's often difficult to get them. So the bigger turnout we have and the more input we have, the higher likelihood that we'll get a foot in the door on some of these projects. So I would urge you to tell your friends and neighbors to attend. I think the general format, the reason it's a 4 to 7, I believe, is that they'll have maps out and the ability for you to come and stop by and look at different maps and give them information rather than it being a structured meeting for that whole time. So if you get an opportunity next Monday night, I would appreciate it, and I think the entire community would appreciate it if we could have a good turnout and indicate those roads that you see as being problematic either now or in the future. So.
Mayor and Council, I would ask your consideration tonight for 2 items in executive session. One is an economic development matter, and one is a personnel matter. I am not expecting that there would need to be action on either item. One is for informational purposes, and one is to get direction for myself as staff concerning our police chief search process. So I just need a little direction from council on that. So those are the 2 items that I would request council's consideration. Earlier in my comments, I mentioned that we've been very fortunate to be the recipients of some good hardware over the last several weeks, and we've had some communications on that, but I wanted to share that with all of council, but which is a little bit unique to us in our setting and our environment. This time I would like to ask the mayor if he would come around so that we can present some awards to the city itself relative to some accomplishments that we have achieved over this past year.
As we are aware, performance management is a large part of what we do as our organization, and we are a leader not only in South Carolina, but we are a leader across the United States in the area of performance management. One of the ways that we do that is that we compare ourselves. We look at other municipalities throughout the country and we say, how do you do it? What is your process? How long does it take you to accomplish certain service levels? And then we compare how we perform to those standards as well. We are getting better and better at that every year. And the International City and County Management Association believes that our achievements are worthy of noting. And so this past year at their annual conference in Kansas City, we were able to receive, Mike Sell represented our city and received on our behalf first this certificate of achievement that is presented to Greer, South Carolina. Excuse me, it's getting smaller. In recognition of its use of performance data in local government management, including training, verification, and public reporting, presented during the 102nd ICMA Annual Conference in Kansas City, 26 September 2016. This is a national award presented to our city. We ask that we present that to you on our behalf. Also, while we were at that meeting, we were nominated for a national award called the Voice of the People Award. We were notified that we were one of 3 finalists across the country, and we were asked to present some information about what we have done relative to receiving feedback from our community. During our employee safety breakfast this past Friday, we shared a short 2-minute video with all of our staff that we presented for that award. It was received and reviewed, and we were recognized as the #1 city in the United States for this category. The National Citizen Survey area presents the Voice of the People Award, Transformation and Foundations of Livability winner to Greer, South Carolina, presented at the 102nd ICMA Annual Conference in Kansas City, Missouri on the 26th of September 2016. Of all municipalities across the country, they say we listen to our citizens better than anyone else. Congratulations. He's going to run out of arms. Also, on Friday of last week, we had an opportunity for representatives of the Risk Management Services Program for the Municipal Association of South Carolina. We are in 2 risk management programs in our state. These are pooled programs, but one is for workers' compensation and the other is relative to our property and liability insurance. Because we are in those pool programs, it is critically important for us financially that we continue to have strong risk management programs in place. We were recognized for this past year as the #1 city in South Carolina in our population category. So under the South Carolina Municipal Insurance Reserve Fund, the Risk Management Services Award for 2016 is awarded to the City of Greer in recognition of outstanding commitment for safety and excellence, loss achievement, and experiences. And if that's not enough, they came bearing more gifts. So through the South Carolina Municipal Insurance Trust Program, which is our workers' compensation program, we also were recognized as the #1 city in South Carolina in our population category and our number of employee category for the Risk Management Services Award for 2016, awarded to the City of Greer in recognition of outstanding commitment for safety and excellent and loss experience. Thank you. Very good. On behalf of all of our staff, we certainly extend our appreciation to all of our elected officials. Risk management is very important to us. All of the things that we do and we talk with you about on a regular basis concerning performance management, risk management, it is nice to know that we are making great strides and being recognized among our peers in South Carolina, but we are also being recognized by our peers across the country. Greer is doing great things. Thank you for your support. And they gave us money.
Thank you, members of council. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Driggers. That's what I call a clean sweep, isn't it? That's, we certainly are appreciative of all these awards, but you know, and the recognition garnered is never lost on us and our efforts. I am especially proud of the 2 awards that we received from the ICMA for a couple of reasons. One, you hear us talk a lot about economic development and about projects that are coming, about commercial development and growth and housing starts and a lot of different measurements that many cities across our state use. And that's often the banter and the talk between other mayors and certainly council members and others as well, too, as we go to meetings not only across the region but across the state and even nationally about how well our cities and towns are doing. But one of the things that I deeply, deeply believe in is that unless you're improving the quality of life for the citizens of your community, you're spinning your wheels in terms of a lot of other things, because our job is to balance that between the growth and development that we have, but never forget that one of the things that we have to be not only careful about but diligent about is making sure that we don't leave any citizen of this city behind in the process of doing that. And to receive these 2 awards in terms of the way that we have set up to measure how successful we are at doing that, and to be recognized for that, and to know that those benchmarks and those measurements are in place and that we're annually doing that or doing that on a regular basis. And then also to receive award that not only do we gather that information, but it's also perceived that we do something about it. Is gratifying to me beyond all belief, because that's really why we sit up here, or should be why we sit up here. And those 2 awards indicate that we're doing the right kinds of things to make this not only a good city, but a successful city as well. So just wanted to add a note to these two awards. And certainly from the insurance standpoint, we're always glad that we can save our city money and provide the best for our employees that we possibly can. So good awards all the way around. Thank you very much. With that, council, we'll move to items of old business, of which we only have one this evening, and it's the second and final reading of ordinance number 30-2016. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of properties owned by Truck Farm of Greer located at 13745 and 13755 East Wadehampton Boulevard by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification of C3 for said property. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion. Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis, Ms. Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, in executive session, we've been asked to consider two matters, one an economic development matter, the other a personnel matter. We expect there'll be no action on either matter. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, we stand in executive session. On an executive session, we've considered two matters, one an economic development matter, the other a personnel matter. We've taken no action in regards to either matter. Do I hear a motion to come out of executive session?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Duncan?
Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert, Mr. Dumas, Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Stand adjourned.